You never think the night that changes everything starts with something as small as guilt that I wasn't even supposed to be at that barbecue. Work had been insane, I was burned out, and honestly, the idea of smiling through small talk with people I barely knew made me want to stay home. But my friend Mike wouldn't stop texting. Just swing by for an hour, he said. It's good people, low-key, you need this. Maybe he was right, maybe I did. So I went. It was nothing special at first. Plastic chairs, country music from someone's phone speaker, and the smell of grilled corn in the air. But then I saw her, Daisy. She wasn't doing anything dramatic. No loud laugh or flashy outfit. She was sitting on the porch steps, sipping from a mason jar, listening to someone's story with a quiet kind of focus that made everything else fade. She looked grounded, real, like someone who didn't need to be the center of the room to be the heart of it. We started talking over baked beans and bad beer. 10 minutes turned into an hour. It was easy, warm, like we'd skipped the awkward phase entirely and gone straight into the middle of something comfortable. We talked about nothing and everything. How we both hated small talk but loved airports, how she once got lost in a bookstore for 5 hours, how I'd learned to cook after my divorce just to survive. I remember thinking, this feels like coming up for air. Little did I know that night wasn't just a spark. It was the match. Daisy told me early on that she wanted to take things slow. We were sitting on a park bench one evening eating ice cream from a corner shop that barely stayed open past 8. She looked at me with those steady eyes and said, I've rushed into things before. I don't want to do that again. If this means anything, I want to build it the right way. That kind of honesty, it's rare, and I respected it, admired it, even. So we took our time. No pressure, no expectations. Just quiet moments that stitched themselves into something deeper. I'd bring her coffee the way she liked it, hazelnut, 1 sugar, almond milk, extra hot. She'd text me photos of dogs she saw on her walks, knowing I missed mine who passed last year. It was small, yes. But it meant something. I introduced her to my friends at a game night. She fit in easily, laughing at the right moments, not forcing anything. My sister later told me, she feels solid, like someone who's not pretending. That stuck with me. One weekend, I invited her to meet my parents. My mom made her signature Sunday roast and my dad tried too hard with the jokes, but Daisy took it all in stride. She brought flowers, complimented the gravy, and even laughed at Dad's old fishing stories. When we left, my mom hugged me a little longer than usual and whispered, "She's good for you." I started to believe it. I'd leave little notes for her to find, on her mirror, in her purse, once even tucked into her book. You make quiet feel like music. Looking back, maybe I was falling too fast, but everything felt so right, so easy, like I'd finally stepped into the kind of life I thought only existed in other people's stories, like I'd finally been chosen for something beautiful. It happened at a housewarming party, just a regular Saturday night, a few couples, too much sangria, and someone's dog in a Halloween costume for no reason. Daisy and I came together, hand in hand. Like always, she brought her famous spinach dip. I brought wine and my usual awkwardness. Midway through the evening, I stepped outside to catch some air. That's when I overheard it. Two of her friends, college types I didn't really know, laughing about the chaos of her Marcus phase. "She told you about Marcus, right?" one said. The other smirked. "The on-again off-again circus, of course. I think they're still friends or something." The words hung in the air like smoke. I smiled politely when they noticed me, made some excuse about the bathroom, and went back inside. But the night had changed. I watched Daisy more closely after that, watched the way she smiled at her phone once, just a little too long, watched her step outside to take a call and come back with a vague work thing. She had mentioned an ex before, once briefly, just that it was a rough relationship, and she was glad it was over. I never pried. I trusted her, but now there was a hairline fracture in that trust, barely visible, but impossible to ignore. I didn't ask her about it right away. Part of me wanted to believe there was nothing there, that it was just leftover drama from a past life she had already outgrown. The other part, the quieter, colder voice, kept whispering, "Why didn't she tell you they still talk?" That night, lying beside her in bed, listening to her slow, steady breathing, I stared at the ceiling and thought, please let this be nothing, but the doubt had already found its way in. The buzzing woke me. It was past midnight. Daisy was asleep beside me, one arm draped across my chest, her phone lit up again on the nightstand, just a name, Marcus. I stared at it for a long moment, then I picked it up. She'd changed her passcode, but I knew her well enough. Birthday of her dog. The screen unlocked, the messages were mostly gone, deleted, but not everything. I found fragments, Google Maps links, late-night timestamps, wish I could have stayed longer, and one that read simply, same night, you're reckless. My chest tightened that I sat there, the glow of the phone screen cold on my face, reading and rereading what little was left, not enough for details, more than enough for meaning that I put the phone back, laid down, stared at the ceiling that in the morning I made coffee like always, kissed her forehead, asked how she slept, she smiled and said, better with you next to me. I nodded, but inside, something had cracked so deeply I couldn't hear her through the noise that I wasn't planning to call him, but curiosity turned into a need I couldn't ignore. That I found Marcus on LinkedIn, mutual connections made it easy. That I sent a message, can we talk, just want the truth. He replied in 5 minutes. That we met at a diner 2 days later. That he looked tired, not defensive, just tired. She told me about you, he said you were safe, stable, the kind of guy she should want. I asked the only question that mattered, were you two still involved? Marcus looked me dead in the eye, on and off, even after you two got serious, she always came back, never stayed. Silence settled between us like dust. She's scared of being loved, he added, real love terrifies her. So she keeps both worlds alive. It's not personal, she just doesn't know how to stand still. I left the diner colder than I'd entered. It wasn't just betrayal. It was realizing I'd never really been the only one. That just part of a pattern she couldn't break. That I didn't text. Didn't warn her, just showed up. She opened the door with a smile that vanished the second she saw my face. We need to talk, I said. In the kitchen, I laid it out, her messages, the deleted texts, the meeting with Marcus. Her silence stretched, then came the excuses. I was scared, you were too good. I didn't think I deserved it. I waited, it's not like I planned it. Marcus knew that old version of me, you knew the version I wanted to be. Her voice cracked, she reached for my hand. I pulled away. You could have told me, I said quietly. I thought I'd lose you, she whispered, you did. I stood up, she opened her mouth, but no words came, just silence, and in it, more truth than any apology. At the door, I looked back once, she stood frozen, hands at her sides, like someone just realizing the lights had gone out. I left without slamming the door. Some endings don't need noise. The days blurred. I woke up, showered, ate. When I remembered, her name hovered behind every song, every quiet hour. Anger came in waves, then shame for still missing her. One night, I called my old friend Nate. We met at a bar. And after 2 drinks I finally said it, she broke me. He shook his head. No, man, she didn't break you, you gave her more access than she earned. That stuck. We talked for hours. He reminded me how I dimmed myself to keep her comfortable, how I explained away red flags, gave second chances to silence my own gut. She didn't need to manipulate you, he said, you did the work for her. The next morning, I found a therapist, booked an appointment, then I dusted off my guitar, something I hadn't touched in months, played until my fingers ached. I stopped checking my phone. Healing didn't come in a flood, just slow steps, but for the first time, they were mine, and I wasn't walking in circles anymore. It happened on a Tuesday, grocery store. I was reaching for coffee beans when I heard her voice behind me, soft, uncertain, James? I turned. Daisy stood there in a beige coat, holding a basket like it weighed too much. Hi, she said. I nodded, hey. A pause, the kind where everything from the past wants to rise, but nothing does. You look different, she said. I am. She smiled, little sadly. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for everything. I could have asked why. Could have pressed for more, but I didn't need it. It's okay, I said, really. We stood there a moment longer, then she walked away, and I didn't watch her go. In the parking lot, I sat in my car, hands on the wheel, and waited for something. Anger, ache, regret, nothing came, just stillness, peaceful, real. She was a chapter. Point 1 I'd finally finished, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like the story was mine again.